Hello and welcome to Express News. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. In the next half an hour, we'll get you all the latest news and updates. We'll start with the top story. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and other ministers including Piyush Goyal, Hardeep Singh Puri and Nitin Gadkari attended country's largest and first of its kind mobility exhibition, Bharat Mobility Global Expo 2024 at Bharat Mandapam, Delhi. Addressing Bharat Mobility Global Expo 2024, PM Modi said that India's mobility sector will play a crucial role in taking India to the level of a developed country by 2047. He further said that India's economy is expanding fast and in the third term of our government, our country is bound to become the third biggest economy in the world. He highlighted that truck and taxi drivers are an integral part of our social and economic system and that the central government has started work on a new scheme to provide comfort to the drivers during the journey. Bharat Mobility Global Expo 2024 showcases India's capabilities across the entire mobility and automotive value chains. With over 800 exhibitors from more than 50 countries, the expo highlights cutting-edge technologies, sustainable solutions and breakthroughs in mobility. India's President Draupadi Murmu inaugurated the 37th Suraj Kund International Crafts Mela 2024 in Faridabad in northern state of Haryana. The fair showcases the richness and diversity of the handicrafts, handlooms and the cultural heritage of India. Around 50 countries will participate in the fair, including Ethiopia, Kenya, Nepal, Russia and Sri Lanka, among others. India's Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar attended the 7th convocation ceremony of Jawaharlal Nehru University as chief guest in New Delhi. India's Civil Aviation Minister Jyotiraditya Scindia held a meeting with all major airport operators in New Delhi to speed up immigration and security for international travellers. A high-level Maldivian delegation attended a core group meeting in New Delhi. The delegation, comprising both diplomatic and military representatives, participated in the second core group meeting. During the meeting, both sides held discussions on wide-ranging issues related to bilateral cooperation towards identifying steps to enhance the partnership, including expediting the implementation of ongoing development cooperation projects. Amidst the political unrest in the Indian state of Jharkhand, Champai Soren took oath as the Chief Minister of Jharkhand on Friday. He has been given 10 days to prove his government's majority. Large number of devotees flocked to Varanasi, the holy city in the Indian state of Uttar Pradesh, to offer prayers at an ancient prayer site which was lying closed for over 3 decades. Tight security arrangements have been made in the vicinity to avert any potential disturbances. Indian Coast Guard celebrated its 48th Raising Day. India's Defence Ministry said in a statement that the Indian Coast Guard, with 152 ships and 78 aircraft in its arsenal, is on track to achieve its targeted force levels of 200 surface platforms and 100 aircraft by 2030. The Indian Navy is all set to commission its latest survey vessel Sandhayak on 3rd February at Naval Dockyard Vizag in South Indian state of Andhra Pradesh. The vessel is designed indigenously. India's Transport Minister reviewed the progress of the Frontier Highway project, a flagship project poised to have a profound impact on the social-economic landscape of Arunachal Pradesh and the entire northeast region. The Indian markets ended in green on Friday. Sensex jumped for 40.33 points to settle at 72,085.63. While Nifty climbs 156.30 points to 21,853.80. The rupee appreciated 7 paise to close at 82.91 against the US dollar on Friday. Gold future maturing on 5th February stood at 62,780 rupees per 10 grams on Multi-Commodity Exchange of India Limited. Silver futures maturing on 5th March stood at 72,225 rupees per kg on the MCX. Unified Payment Interface or UPI transactions have clocked a new high in value in January by touching 18.41 trillion Indian rupees, up marginally by 1% from 18.23 trillion Indian rupees in December. According to the data shared by the National Payments Corporation of India, January numbers were 52% higher in volume and 42% higher in value compared to the same month last financial year. US stocks rebound on Thursday, recovering from a brutal sell-off as Wall Street seems to have come to terms with the Federal Reserve's signals of a delay in rate cut. The Fed held steady on rates but signaled that a March cut is unlikely. The 30 stock Dow added 369.54 points to close at 38,519.84. It was a fresh record close for the blue chip index, which also wiped its losses from a day earlier. The S&P 500 added 1.25% to 4,906.19. Asian markets were trading higher early Friday, reflecting on Wall Street's rebound. Japan's Nikkei 225 index added 0.2% on strength in the tech sector, though larger gains were held back due to losses in the banking stocks. Elon Musk has suffered one of the biggest legal losses in US history this week when the Tesla CEO was stripped of his $56 billion pay package in a case brought by an unlikely opponent, a former heavy metal drummer. Amid the chilling winters in India, capital city Delhi engulfs in dense fog on Friday morning. The shallow fog has affected visibility in several areas, which is causing disruptions to flights and train services. According to India Met Department, a layer of fog-shrouded isolated areas of Delhi and East Uttar Pradesh, while dense fog was observed in isolated pockets of Haryana, Rajasthan and Jharkhand. Pangi Valley, a tribal area of Chamba of the Indian state of Himachal Pradesh, receives heavy snowfall. The entire valley has been covered in a thick layer of snow. India's Weather Department has issued an orange alert for snowfall at various places in Himachal Pradesh, indicating the possibility of rain also in other parts of the state. Streets were empty in Colombia's capital Bogota on Thursday as the city went car-free in an effort to curb traffic and air pollution. The move comes a week after the capital was shrouded in smoke from nearby wildfires. Argentina is experiencing heat waves at a time when it was supposed to be their winter, with temperatures rising towards 40 degrees Celsius. Residents seek respite from the oppressive heat. Hundreds of people flock to rivers and douse themselves under colorful showers to contend with the heat. Meanwhile, red alert was issued around the country. As storm Ingun moves north, the Norwegian police cordoned off the center of the coastal town of Bodø, advising residents to stay indoors. The storm set a new record for the average wind speed in Norway, reaching 54.4 meters per second. Floods hit Peru as rivers overflow from heavy rainfall, submerging streets and causing home damage. The Peruvian Weather Service warned that the coastal El Nino phenomena will persist until late summer, resulting in ongoing impact. The first of two back-to-back atmospheric rivers drenched California, flooding roads and toppling trees, while triggering statewide storm preparations and calls for people to get ready for powerful downpours, heavy snow and damaging winds. Catalonia residents face severe water usage restrictions amid the region's worst drought, with bans on car washing and filling swimming pools. Permitted daily water usage is reduced to 200 litres per person, down from 210 litres. As reservoirs plummet to around 16% capacity, impacting approximately 6 million people in 200 urban areas, including Barcelona, the measures aim to alleviate the crisis. The United States on Thursday approved the sale of 31 MQ-9B armed drones to India at an estimated cost of $3.99 billion. The proposed mega drone deal was announced during Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Washington in June last year. US State Department spokesperson Matthew Miller said the drone deal offers significant potential to further advance strategic technology cooperation with India and military cooperation in the region. The US has approved plans for a series of strikes on Iranian targets in Syria and Iraq soon after a drone attack killed 3 US soldiers in Jordan close to the Syrian border last week. US Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said on Thursday that this was a dangerous moment in West Asia, but the United States would work to avoid a wider conflict. The EU's top diplomat will host foreign ministers of the ASEAN grouping as well as from the Pacific Islands in two separate meetings on Friday, with trade and regional security on top of the agenda. Israel's Defense Minister Yoav Gallant said that the country's troops have killed 10,000 terrorists in Gaza since the start of the conflict with Hamas. In response to the barrage of rockets fired at central Israel on Thursday, Israel Air Force fighter jets struck the launchers and destroyed 70 tunnel shafts harboring Hamas in Khan Yunis. The Syrian military said it downed a number of Israeli missiles launched from the Golan Heights that were targeting South Damascus on Friday. In a bid to get a defense pact approved by Washington, D.C. before the U.S. presidential election, Saudi Arabia is willing to accept the political commitment for creation of a Palestinian state by Israel. A Russian strike killed two French volunteer aid workers in southern Ukrainian region of Kherson on Thursday. A Ukrainian national was also wounded in the strike. Leaders of the European Union on Thursday unanimously voted in favor of extending 50 billion euros in financial assistance for Ukraine, a decision that was welcomed by Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. The International Atomic Energy Agency said that workers from Ukraine's atomic energy operator Energoatom have been barred from the Russian-occupied Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant and now manned by staff of Russian nationality. North Korea fired multiple cruise missiles off its west coast on Friday, marking the fourth time in just over a week that Pyongyang has launched such missiles off both coasts. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un inspected a shipyard on Friday, underscoring the importance of a strong naval force in war preparations. He was briefed on various warship construction for a new huge plan decided by the North Korean leadership. Northern Ireland is set to elect a government on Saturday for the first time in 2 years after the British Parliament agreed to revamp post-Brexit trade rules to break a political stalemate. The police clashed with protesters in the Argentine capital, Buenos Aires, for the second consecutive day on Thursday as lawmakers debated an economic reform bill known as the Omnibus Bill. Several people, including the pilot, were killed and 4 homes were damaged after a small plane crashed into a trailer park due to an engine failure in Clearwater in Florida on Thursday. The Turkish authorities on Friday arrested 25 suspects in connection with the shooting of a man at a church in Istanbul on 28 January. 2 of the suspects previously captured by police are believed to be tied to Islamic State. Indonesia's Jakarta provincial government has announced the collaboration with the Australian Embassy through the Indonesia-Australia Partnership for Infrastructure to build a sustainable transport system for its capital, Jakarta. Peru's train services to its historic archaeological site, Machu Picchu, reopened on Thursday following the end of the protest over a newly introduced centralized ticketing system. The protesters struck an agreement to end the protest that ran for more than a week. Former Malaysian Prime Minister Najib Razak's 12-year jail sentence for corruption has been halved by the country's pardon squad. Ahead of elections next week, Pakistan's caretaker administration is making binding plans for a new government to sell loss-making Pakistan International Airlines. Thousands of farmers have taken to the streets of Brussels to protest rising living costs. The protest brought the city to a standstill as protesters clashed with police. An undocumented migrant from Myanmar died in a road accident while fleeing an immigration detention center with over 100 others in Malaysia. Bus and tram services across Germany were disrupted on Friday as 90,000 public transport workers went on strike to protest for better working conditions, causing inconvenience for commuters and travelers. A power outage in downtown Toronto left thousands without electricity on Thursday evening, with a local power provider later blaming a raccoon's contract with equipment as the source of the blackout. Tens of thousands of people attended rallies across Slovakia on Thursday against plans by Prime Minister Robert Fico's government to scrap the office that probes high-profile financial crimes. A fire resulting from a gas explosion in Kenya's capital Nairobi killed 2 people and injured at least 165. Visitors to Mount Fuji will now be charged an additional fee, $13, as local authorities aim to alleviate congestion on the mountain. A mouse-sized video rental store has appeared on the streets of the city of Malmo, one of the latest works by Anonymous, the Sweden-based artist collective who have installed tiny pop-up shops and restaurants in cities around the world. New York's archive of contemporary music, home to a vast collection of popular music, is facing relocation concerns due to zoning difficulties at its current rural location. Established in 1985 by B. George, the non-profit archive, originally based in New York City, is on the hunt for a new location after storing its extensive 47,000 record collection in a former pig barn. Guitars from the collection of former Dire Straits frontman Mark Knopfler hit the auction block in London on Thursday, selling for over $11.2 million and setting multiple records. The auction included over 120 guitars and amplifiers used by the British musician to record and perform several of the Dire Straits' biggest hits. Passengers on a 9-month cruise on the famous Royal Caribbean's Ultimate World Cruise to a 60-country trip have become unlikely stars on TikTok and Instagram, with thousands following their epic voyage and updates on daily life on board. Behind-the-scenes videos from cruisers and opinion clips which set off from Miami on December 10, 2023 have lit up social media, with hashtag Ultimate World Cruise having over 360 million views. Britain's Queen Camilla has opened a new cancer support centre at the Royal Free Hospital in London ahead of World Cancer Day on Sunday. A long-lost portrait by the iconic Austrian painter Gustav Klimt, which recently resurfaced after 100 years, will go up for auction in Vienna later this year and could fetch as much as $86 million. A mesmerizing ice palace is currently in the process of being constructed for the upcoming Saranac Lake Winter Carnival in 2024. The frosty marvel, a time-honored tradition skillfully crafted by the talented residents of Saranac Lake, stands as the focal point of the annual festivities in New York City. US singer-songwriter and pianist Billy Joel released Turn the Lights Back On Thursday's first new single in 17 years. Joel, known for hits like Piano Man and Uptown Girl, will perform shows across the United States as well as in Cardiff, United Kingdom over the coming months. Hollywood sensation Nadler announced on social media that she would perform 4 concerts in a specially built stadium in Munich, Germany in the summer. With the Grammys 2024 set for Sunday, fans of Taylor Swift eagerly await her potential 4th album of the year win, with Midnight's anticipating a record-breaking achievement. Brad Pitt is likely to reunite with veteran director Quentin Tarantino for his final film, The Movie Critic, as their 4th collaboration. Yash Raj Films has roped in director Shiv Raval for its first female-led spy film starring Alia Bhatt and Sharvari, where the two will be seen as super agents. The film will be directed by Shiv Raval. Priyanka Chopra and Nick Jonas have reportedly moved out of their LA mansion due to mold infestation. The actor took to Instagram to share some glimpses from a house which seems to be her new residence. Hrithik Roshan and Deepika Padukone, star of Fighter, seems to be struggling to make its mark at the box office. The film has managed to bring in 5.75 crore rupees at the domestic box office on its 8th day. The teaser for the highly anticipated investigative thriller police drama Thalavan, starring Biju Menon and Asif Ali in the lead roles, has been released. The film is directed by Jish Joy and revolves around the police force hierarchy. The Tamil actor Vijay took to social media platform X and announced the formation of his political party, Tamilaga Vetri Kazagam Aka TVK. Opener Yashasvi Jaiswal produced an unbeaten 179 runs to steer India to a commanding 336 for 6 on day 1 of the second test against England. The 22-year-old smacked 5 sixes and 17 fours in his career best knock. He remained unfazed by his batting partner's poor shot selection. 7-time World Formula One World Champion Lewis Hamilton has activated a release option in his contract and will leave Mercedes at the end of the season. Lewis Hamilton is expected to join Ferrari in 2025 in a sensational move that has been the talk of the sport world. India's Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports has approved Commonwealth Games medalist Tejaswin Shankar's request for financial assistance for participation in continental tour events in Europe. Tejaswin wants to compete in Belgium's high jump Gala Elmos, followed by international athletic meet in Czech Republic, which will help him to qualify for the Paris Olympic Games. Lionel Messi came on as an 83rd minute substitute but could do nothing to stop Inter Miami suffering a 6-0 drubbing by an Al Nassr team without Cristiano Ronaldo in Riyadh. Spanish forward Joselu scored twice to give Real Madrid a 2-0 win at local rivals Getafe, propelling them to the La Liga summit 2 points ahead of surprise package Girona. The Africa Cup of Nations quarterfinals are set to begin on Friday, with 8 teams competing for a place in the semi-finals. The opening quarterfinal features Nigeria and Angola, a first-time encounter in the history of the tournament. Alright, that's all we have in this edition of Express News. You stay tuned for more news and updates. Namaskar.